Hey, what's up? You're watching Vec, and it's been a solid 3 months since the last time we got an actual update with NFS Heat. The last time we got the update was back in March, and that was with the black market update. That seemed that there was going to be a lot more to it. However, since everything's going on with COVID and all that, the game pretty much just took a dive out of nowhere. We haven't seen any updates of any sort, any heads up for updates. Maybe a couple tweets here and there, but nothing substantial. But today we not only got an update on crossplay of all things, but we also got some patch notes with some bug fixes. Hopefully there's some good stuff in there, some much needed fixes, specifically with some like tunnel walls just popping up out of nowhere, or just stopping your car just like there's an invisible wall. Hopefully that's fixed. But before we go into details, why don't you hit the sub button for more content just like this. I do a bunch of build videos with NFS Heat, a bunch of tutorials, also break down on how to build your own cars and all that good stuff. Like the video if you like what you see in this video, and then make sure to comment on anything, any questions that you might have in relation to what we're about to read. So we got shifting gears into the future with Criterion and Need for Speed trademark. We already knew that Need for Speed was going to be shifting hands to Criterion. Ghost, it's either going to be just kind of like a supporting studio as it was before they got NFS. We did already know that Criterion was going to be taking over the Need for Speed franchise. So Need for Speed trademark gets crossplay, and the next game in the franchise in development by Criterion. Again, we already knew that. So let's go into details. To the Need for Speed community. Hello, Matt Webster here, General Manager of Criterion Games. First, I want to let you know how excited our team here in Guildford is to be back in the driver's seat development for the next Need for Speed. So they did develop, what was it? They did a couple Need for Speeds. They weren't exactly what we've gotten in the past as far as like Need for Speed Underground, Pro Street, Carbon, stuff like that. It was like Shift 2. But we did get a remake for Most Wanted. Continuing on, as you all know, we have a real history with racing and with Need for Speed. We're focused on bringing Criterion unique point of view, unparalleled game feel, and high quality innovations that would chart a new future for this wondering series of games. Yeah, again, they did develop some Need for Speeds. They also did Burnout, but Burnout was very arcadey, and I think that's pretty much the point of Burnout. But yeah, let's move on. I also wanted to share with you a glimpse of the road ahead. With our first checkpoint approaching quickly, the team has been hard at work to deliver an exciting feature, the Need for Speed Heat, which will be players' hands tomorrow. Okay, so I'm guessing this is just going to be the crossplay. At Criterion, we've always believed that games are better with friends. That's true. We don't want your platform of choice to be a barrier for that experience. So we're thrilled to let you know that on June 9th, so we're actually on June 8th today, Need for Speed Heat will be the first EA title to offer crossplay, meaning that players, regardless of their platform, could jump into Palm City together as one united community. Crossplay, for a lot of people, it's not that big a deal, but for me, it is. I have friends that play on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation, and it's kind of a shame that we're kind of divided just by the platform that we decide to play. And I'm wondering how they got around with PlayStation, because I know PlayStation in the past has been the barrier for crossplay, and I can kind of see why, especially with FPS. It's kind of a bit of a mess when you actually involve PC into it. But I know that Call of Duty recently has crossplay, so this might be kind of just an ease on that, and we might even see the next Need for Speed be crossplay off the bat. I'm hoping it is. Once you install the update, see update notes here. We got it up already over here, including some other fixes too. You can opt in to race players across PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. You can search for your friends who are playing on any of the above systems, given they opted in for crossplay as well. Inside, find players menu, then go to the EA Friends tab in the party menu to see who's online to play with. Okay, so you can opt in not to play crossplay, which is kind of an interesting feature. I think I would think that right off the bat when you go online you would be in crossplay, but that might not be the case. As we at Criterion shift gears into the future with full focus on developing the next Need for Speed game, this will be the final update for Need for Speed Heat. I kind of thought it would be the final update, since we haven't seen anything for, again, the last 3 months. I didn't even think we would get an update. I thought the game was just going to be as it was, but at least one final gesture is what we're getting, which is cool, I guess. I'll get more into that after we're done reading. So the launch of the Need for Speed Heat, as players continue to tear it up Palm City, we're listening to what you love about this experience and what you believe could be even better. With these insights, we have a terrific foundation to create the most expressive, most socially connected, action-packed game yet for Need for Speed fans and beyond. So it kind of seems like they're paying some attention to the community. I do have a lot of wants and like wishes for the next Need for Speed game. Some stuff that I hope gets carried over from Heat and past Need for Speed games, specifically with Ghost. But I think I'm gonna save that for another video because that could probably take quite a bit just to get into. So let's go on. As more players join the global Need for Speed community, we also want to provide more options in how the series can be discovered. On June 16th, Need for Speed Heat drops into the EA Access and Origin Access Basic Vault, giving all subscribers the opportunity to enter Palm City. So Origin Access, the Basic Vault, I think it's only like $4 a month. It's kind of interesting that they're dropping this game into that vault, which is one of their newer games. But it's also nice because you don't have to actually play the full game. Usually when you're doing something with a vault, you don't get all the other goodies. Which when it comes to Heat, it doesn't really matter because the only difference is 10% extra cash, which doesn't really make that much of a difference, to be honest, in Need for Speed, with money coming in super easy. And also access to the black market, it's not really that big a deal. The DB11 isn't that much better than its main vanilla counterpart, except for maybe visuals. And the F1 is one of the best cars in the game, but it isn't a necessity. I don't really see that many people actually using the F1, so it's not really that big a deal. The only thing that I would say is probably just doing the extra races, getting the extra content. That might kind of like tug you a little bit towards buying the actual game or buying all the extras like the F1. I'm not sure if you actually get EA Access, you can buy the extras and then kind of do it like that. I know you could do it like that with Game Pass. You can buy extras and then just have Game Pass and play the game that way. I'm not sure if that works the same way. Another step to connect our players and games on more platforms is the recent release for Need for Speed Heat on Steam alongside 2016 Need for Speed and Need for Speed Rivals. So I've been seeing a lot of people play Rivals recently, and I might actually check that one out myself. I'm pretty sure there's more than likely gonna be a sale on this. Usually when games go on Steam, there's a sale, specifically with games that have been released before. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye out on that. So yeah, keep an eye out at EA Play Live on June 18th for more Need for Speed and Steam announcements. Crossplay will work across PC via Origin and Steam, so that's good. PS4, Xbox One, and subscribers. Okay, you'll know from our past history that we want to bring players together however we can. With this announcement and what we're working on for the future, we're focused on uniting the wider Need for Speed community so that you can play, race, compete with all of your friends. If you're like me, you're part of a few of the Need for Speed community groups on Facebook. There's quite a few competitions. I haven't seen too many recently. But with crossplay coming in, I'm hopeful that we might see a lot of more competitors, a lot bigger events. Everything's community driven at this point. Nothing is done by Ghost or Criterion for that extent. So hopefully we can see a lot more racing, a lot more drifting, and all that good stuff. Hopefully the community grows around this game because that's pretty much what's keeping the game alive. It's the community. But we can't wait to share more details about Need for Speed down the road. Until then, stay safe and play together, Matt. Alright, so some quick thoughts before we move on to the patch notes. Again, I'm excited for crossplay. I think it's something that's pretty cool to add to the games. We don't get too many games with crossplay, and I think specifically with Need for Speed, it's one of those games that will really benefit from crossplay because a lot of the community kind of goes towards one system or the other. For the most part, I've seen most of the community on PlayStation 4, so probably if you play on PlayStation 4, it's probably not that big of a deal because you have the majority of the community, it seems. But for people on PC and Xbox One, this is going to make the difference. We might see a larger community at large on our end. Also don't know how this is going to affect crews, because right now crews are just, you know, per platform, so you automatically get put into a crew when you start up the game fresh. You also can invite your friends and all that, and it seems that you can add your friends with crossplay. So I'm wondering if crews are also going to be cross-platform, if you're going to be able to add in people from all around. Also with things like racing and, you know, doing your time runs, your time attack runs, doing your drift runs for the points and all that stuff, I wonder if that's going to be carrying over to through the platform. So are you going to be able to pair up with a friend from Xbox One to PlayStation 4 and then see their scores as well? So if crews are cross-platform, that'd be really interesting. So that's some quick thoughts on crossplay, as far as where I see it, I think it's a pretty big plus. I know I've seen a few people before I started reading the patch notes and all this stuff for myself. They are not really that exciting. Um, a lot of people still want the Supra, and we're not going to get the Supra. There's a big reason why we don't really get that many Toyotas in games, specifically like Need for Speed. That could honestly be a video all on itself, but let's move on to the patch notes. So we got EA David here, community manager. So we have someone else right now with a community manager, so we might be shifting gears on that too. So, hello there. The team has been working hard on finalizing the June update, and we're happy to announce it will be released tomorrow, June 9th. It addresses the missing vanity items for 100ing the game, and you should encounter DR1005 less often. I've never seen that before. I'm gonna have to look up what that is, because I've never seen DR1005 at all. So if anybody's seen this, leave it in the comments. Let me know what it is. I've never seen it. So we're also thrilled to announce a crossplay is coming for Need for Speed Heat, allowing you to cross. Okay, so yeah, we saw that in the previous page. It's been quite a packed week for Need for Speed, and we published an article on our website that tells you everything you need to know beyond the update notes. So I think that's what we just read, this shifting gears into the future. We switch up in order in which the update is released for the platforms, starting with Xbox, followed by PlayStation, and then PC. Switched up the order in which the update is released? Were they actually releasing stuff like in a certain order before? That's not something you really notice, especially like if you only play it on Xbox or only PlayStation or only PC, you probably don't really notice. It's odd that they have an order for updates. I don't see why they just don't release all the updates for all the platforms at once. Now let's jump into the update notes, starting with the newest edition, Crossplay. Okay, so we're gonna jump into Crossplay. Maybe we get more information, especially with what I was mentioning with Cruise and all that. Once you install the June update, you will be prompted with the option to activate Crossplay, which can later find in the privacy settings in the game menu. Opting in will allow you to race players across PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation on the same server. Okay, so that's one of the things I was assuming. Once you jump into the live service of the well, not live service, but like a live server of Need for Speed, you would be jumped into a server that has all platforms on it, which is basically what I assumed. Which is yeah, that's kind of, I feel like that's pretty standard. That's probably like the most basic way to implement this. You can search for friends in the Find Players menu, head over to the Party menu, and check new EA Friends tabs to see who's online across all platforms. In order to create a party and invite them to your game, they naturally need to opt in for crossplay as well. So it's going to be an opt-in option for everybody. So if you don't want to play for some reason on someone with that's playing on a different platform, which I don't really see a reason not to opt in. Like I know there's still some animosity between platforms. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But honestly, I guess if you don't want to opt in for some odd reason, then you have the option not to. In the game, you'll see icon next to players' names indicating which platform they're playing on, and you can use the proximity voice chat to talk to them. Okay, so you'll know what system they're playing on. I was wondering that, especially with like myself, I play on both PC and Xbox. Can they tell which platform I'm playing on? My gamer tag is pretty much the same, just a little bit different, so most people probably wouldn't notice a difference if I'm playing on PC or an Xbox on crossplay. But it's nice to know that you can kind of see which system they're playing on, I guess. So now into general fixes. Improve cop car logic to reduce occurrences when cop cars significantly reduce player car health in one hit. I don't find this being part of logic. That's not really logic. Like, someone's gonna have to explain this to me. This kind of seems like a nerf to cops, and I think personally, I think cops need a buff. Even rhinos, like I have a video on the Dodge Challenger where I'm just literally just going against a rhino head on, and I take them out, and I just keep going. And honestly, I feel like the rhinos, you should be able to take a couple hits from a rhino. That's fine if you build the car specifically for that. But the cops, the AI needs a lot of improvements, but we're not going to see that, regretfully. And I think this was not a needed improvement. This does not improve cop logic in any way. In fact, this might make night racing a lot easier than it is already. Again, I don't think cops are a problem whatsoever. You can easily farm up like into the millions of points, of rep points in a single night. And I feel like that should be a lot harder to achieve. I see that quite a bit. There's even just the bug where you can't really get above like 20 mil, and that's something that just tells you like cop cars need to be improved, not nerfed. So some cops would behave very passive while in a pursuit and not perform maneuvers to stop your car. They should now be more motivated to take you down as long as they're actively pursuing you. This is no overall buff or nerf of the cops. It's just affect a small percentage of cop cars that are pursuing but not engaging. Um, I don't understand this one either. I think the fact that they do kind of like pit maneuvers and it makes it feel like they're kind of planning rather, because they'll get on behind you, they get on the sides, and then one of them will come in and take you out. But it seems now they're gonna be just rubber banding. So it isn't a buff or a nerf, specifically with them now hitting you and doing less damage. So it just seems like they're just adding more rubber banding to the cops, which is kind of like a weird thing. I see already. You can't really nos away from a cop. They just kind of rubber band to you. You can maneuver away and then kind of trick them a little bit that way, but they immediately catch up to you, which I don't understand this one whatsoever, but I guess it might make it a little bit harder. Again, they see it as not a buff or a nerf, but that's yet to be seen. We fixed an issue where some rewards didn't trigger correctly when hitting 100% of collectibles. You should now receive the vending items Rainbow Nitrous, Black Tire Smoke, and if you're happy and you know it, Horn. Okay, again, I've never seen these bugs, so that's maybe something the if you're happy and you know it, I didn't know you can get that. So maybe I did face the bug and I just haven't known it, so I might have to check that out and see if I have already gotten it, or maybe I haven't. Made a few tweaks so you should encounter error DR1005 less often. Okay, so we already saw that. I'm not sure what the tweaks are. It doesn't really go into details. So similarly, the probability of inventory synchronization errors has been significantly reduced. So this part, I have seen a lot of people, not specifically myself, but they would log in and they would be some cars would be missing, some cash would be missing, or they would have more cash than they thought they would, but they would be missing some cars. I think the biggest problem is missing cars. A lot of people don't want to see their cars missing, so hopefully that error has gone away and we don't really see people missing their cars again. But with all things, sometimes there's bug fixes and something just creeps in and you might still see some cars missing, hopefully not. But now let's move on to visuals. When rushing through the tunnel in Mendoza Keys, you should no longer encounter solid walls popping in. This, I have it in various videos where I'm going into the tunnel and there's just a wall. A lot of times it's not solid, but a lot of the times I also get an invisible wall that just stops the car, and that's why I don't really like doing races in the tunnel into Mendoza Keys and all that. So I kind of avoid those kind of races now. Hopefully it's fixed. I'll be trying that out. Hopefully it is fixed, because that was a pain going into that tunnel and then just getting stopped and then seeing all the AI cars just zoom right by you while you're just stuck in an invisible wall. That was really annoying. So fix an issue that could cause vegetation to appear on roads when choosing low on medium graphics settings and using a specific video card. It doesn't say what specific video card is that. I wish they would say which specific video card it was at so they know it was fixed. However, I've never seen this issue myself, so it might not be in the cards that I've used. I've used a 1660, I use a 970, I've even used a 1060, so I've never seen it on those cards, so I'm not sure if it's even was on those cards. It might not even be on NVIDIA cards. They don't tell us, so we don't know. The racer challenges in the garage will no longer be displayed after reaching rep level 50. Why not? I don't get that. Like I don't really do the challenges myself, but why not be displayed in the garage? Like, I feel like having daily challenges, weekly challenges, or something to do while you go into the game, it's one of the things that kind of keeps the game alive, especially if they're unique and you can repeat them for cash, for parts, and all that stuff. But yeah, this kind of seems like more like a negative than a fix. So I'm not sure if being a visual fix, maybe you weren't actually getting the challenges, and I've never looked into them because they always seem kind of boring to me, and they never changed. So maybe they weren't supposed to be there in the first place. So I guess that in that regard, it could be a fix. The rival crews menu is no longer visible in the main menu when you boot the game while offline. So again, the rival crews was a feature they were gonna implement. It got into the update last March. Well, this past March, and they plainly said that it was a mistake. It's not supposed to be there. They're not gonna do anything about it. But they also say they weren't gonna fix it. So I don't know why, if they're gonna just leave it. But it says while offline. So if you're online, are you gonna see it? So again, it's a feature that just kind of like, hey, we thought of this cool feature to get into the game, but we're just gonna leave it there. We're not gonna do anything. It's not supposed to be there. Coffee. That's basically what they said, and it's a shame that they're not implementing something like that, because I feel like with the crews, having a rival crew or doing crew versus crew races would have been a huge benefit to the game, especially community wise. And again, it's just a shame that they're not working towards it. But moving on, fix an issue where a time trial wouldn't show any ghost card when you started it. Again, I've never seen this before, so maybe it's just again some of the bugs that just pop up once in a while. After driving to a time trial starting point, looking at the leaderboard panel should no longer be blank. If this was honestly populated by like an online leaderboard, this would be a big deal. But seeing that a lot of these are populated by your crew, and some people don't even have crews, I don't think a lot of people have ever even seen this blank. So most likely you'll just go in there and just see your scores. So again, I'm kind of confused about this fix. Like I've never seen it. I never thought it was an issue. So if any of you that's in a crew have ever seen this issue, let me know. I'm wondering if it wiped the scores or if it just popped up blank for a little while and then the scores popped up back up. Like in that manner, I would see it as a big issue. A specific beanie was only visible from close range, now it can only be seen from afar. Oh, it can also be seen from afar. I read that's only being seen from afar. I was like, okay, so you're doing the opposite. But I don't know what beanie that is. It just says a specific beanie. Again, one big trouble that I have with Criterion and Ghost and EA with their patch notes, it says a certain card, a certain bug, certain things, specific beanie. Like they never tell you what it was. So they could have just added this and you would have never known what the actual issue was. So people with the issue wouldn't even know if their specific problem ever even got fixed, because it doesn't even tell you which got fixed. Honestly, they should say what the issue was and what card it was that was being affected over here. Well, with the visual fixes, and they should say which beanie it was, so we could go in and check for that specific beanie, making sure that the bug is actually fixed. So now with audio, Cop will now refer to the McLaren P1 GTR correctly in Cop chatter. I never noticed this being an issue. So if the the McLaren P1 GTR, yeah, I always like heard McLaren, so that made sense to me. But I'm gonna have to pay attention to this one. Rework train wagon collision models in Fort Callahan to prevent your car becoming stuck under them. That's good. I've been stuck under these wagons, and I've also been stuck under like portables a couple times, specifically with like under stairs, under ramps and stuff like that. My car's been jammed into those, and I've just been stuck, and I had to just port myself. I've also just had to like end the night and the race and just get my car unstuck that way. So hopefully that fixes not just that, but other things. But we took a look closer at a few spots where cars could drive on the bottom of the ocean or riverbed. The cars should now get wrecked as intended, and while they're busy with their own cars, they should no longer be busting you. Okay, so I've never seen this before. Again, leave a comment if you've seen cars driving under the ocean or riverbeds. Usually I just do a ramp and they just go into the river and wreck. I was kind of hoping that would be fixed, but it doesn't really seem like that's the case. I feel like cop cars are like, with the rubber banding, they should be fast enough to jump the ramps as well, but they just like slow down and then just go into the river and they just take themselves out, which kind of like it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do, but it's also kind of game breaking. So I was hoping that would be at least one of the fixes, but it doesn't seem to be. So moving on to cars, add a sound system interaction point for the Aston Martin Vulcan 16s. Sound systems don't do anything. I don't don't really see this as like a fix. Like sound systems don't do anything whatsoever. They don't even seem to be that much of a visual difference, especially if you're using a darker tint. You like I put into a couple cars. It's just kind of like a money dump, and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't change the audio. Specifically, like on my end, I use these headphones. But when I'm just playing by myself. I got a sound system with an actual its own bass speaker and everything, and I don't notice a difference. So I don't really see the purpose of this. So I think it's just kind of like a waste of trying to add this. All colors should not be displayed correctly when using specific paints on the side of the Chevrolet Camaro Z28. It's not just a Z28. I've seen this with every car where I make my own decal, and suddenly certain colors just go gray. They just go like metallic gray, and they don't change, or they just go black, or they just disappear. And it's a big shame because I use the same decal across a lot of cars. I fix it up so I can kind of like make like a universal look for all my cars, and them just disappearing or changing colors or some colors fading out is just like, it's not just on the Camaro Z28, and I'm surprised this hasn't like been fixed for more cars. But let's move on. Maybe there's more into it. Decal interaction points for the Lamborghini Aventador S18 and the Roadster variant now work as intended. I never seen any decal interaction points be kind of off, but maybe there wasn't. I just never noticed it. So the second set of stock rims now is aligned with the tires of the Land Rover Defender 110/15. Okay, so that's another thing I've never noticed. I never actually used the Land Rover, but when I've used it, like when I've seen it rather online, I've never seen any issues. But again, we're racing, so you probably don't really notice stuff like that when you're racing at high speed. Added a sound system interaction point for the Land Rover Defender. Again, the sound systems don't make a difference. This is just a money dump. Like we don't really need fixes for the sound systems where they don't do anything at all. I feel like this is just kind of like a waste of something that could have been focused on instead of just adding like a sound system interaction. When using the wide Porsche rear fender on the Porsche 911 Carrera, RSR 2.8 aftermarket taillights tint should not be displayed correctly. I'm gonna have to check this out because I didn't think they were displayed incorrectly, so that's something I'm gonna have to look into. So the Alchemist rear bumper on the Ford Mustang 65 is now displayed correctly. Again, this is something I'm gonna have to look into. If you guys been using the Ford Mustang 65 and using the Alchemist rear bumper, let me know if you notice anything different. Let me notice if you notice something off prior to the patch. We are getting this this tomorrow, so it's the 8th. So I'm gonna have to look into these before the bug fixes and the patch actually gets implemented, so I can compare before and after. Decals applied to the Veris front bumper of the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 907 will no longer vanish when accelerating. I've noticed this, and it confused me. I thought at first I just hit something really hard and my bumper flew off, which at first I thought it was like, okay, it's a feature. I need to be more careful with my driving. But then I've noticed it just disappearing, and it just had like the front grille with the lights, which honestly it kind of made it look like a cool little project car. I thought it was pretty neat, but it's good that it's also being fixed. Being able to remove the front bumper just altogether would have been a nice feature, just saying. You can now purchase a stock spoiler for the Nissan 180SX starter car. Again, I didn't know that was even an issue. It's been so long, like that's something that I really didn't think it was an issue. I didn't even notice that we couldn't buy it, so that's again something I'm gonna have to look into. The model of the Porsche Cayman GT4 2015 now has a spoiler equipped that is displayed in the dealership icon. Okay, okay, that's something I'm gonna have to look into. I immediately take off spoilers or anything like that since they don't really make a difference. I like more of the sleek look. So that's something that's cool. If you guys like the stock spoiler, that's a bonus for all y'all. Added a missing sound system interaction point for the Volkswagen Golf GTI, and then again for the Volkswagen Beetle. Again, the sound system doesn't make a difference. This is, I feel like this was just a waste of resources right here. The sound systems, they actually made a difference. I know I can't really remember which game it was, but it wasn't. I think it was Underground 2, stuff like that. If you put a sound system, you can hear an increase in bass. So that's where that made a difference. But in heat, it doesn't make a difference. So at least I've never noticed a difference through different means. Not through my headset, not through my sound system, not through headphones, not through anything. So again, for me, this is kind of bothering me more than it probably should. But like, I just feel like we could have gotten something else. Maybe, you know, the rival crew stuff rather than sound system interaction points. But moving on to events, the AI driver would follow interesting routes in handful of races, like the wall. That's an interesting route, you know, going straight to the wall. We took a look and they should now stick to the racing line. That's good, specifically with difficulty. The higher the difficulty, the more to the racing line they should be sticking to. Usually they just go straight into the wall, and then you just get ahead, let them just fly into the wall, and then you just take a good racing line and you just win the track. And hopefully this makes driving, especially on harder difficulties, a little bit more challenging. That's something that's just to be seen. So moving on, fixed an issue that could occur when we started a time trial after finishing it for the first time and being the ghost time. The UI could behave in a way that would display the ghost from the first time trial run, but you were actually competing against the best time. That could lead to situations where you thought you beat the opponent but also didn't. It should no longer occur, and the ghost that you see is the one time you'll be measured against. Okay, I didn't do the time stuff beyond having to do it for the achievements, stuff like that, so that's something good to see if y'all would like to do your time runs a lot. This should be a nice fix, but I think just looking at your previous time and trying to beat that would be a good indicator whether you beat it or not. Especially if you're beating the ghost by quite a bit, I don't think that would be that much of an issue. When completing the picnic time trial and coming in second, you should now receive the correct amount of bank. All right, so that's good. I know a lot of people like to farm the time trials, so even coming in second, you receiving your cash, it's a good fix right there. So you should now be able to restart the upload mission as intended. I didn't have an issue with this one beforehand, so if y'all have issues right there, let me know what was going on. What was going on when you restarted? What was the issue? Again, I never faced it myself, so I don't really have anything to go on to what the restart issue was. Okay, so we also improved overall stability and fixed rare instances where the game would crash or hang. My game has hung a couple times, specifically when my controller would run out of batteries. I would put in like new batteries and then click it, and then the little banner would go away and then nothing would happen. I've also had that issue in the middle of races with that happening, where my controller would disconnect and then it would just hang. But that's the only times I've ever faced that. I never seen it actually just crash. Like, it wouldn't crash back to like the main menu or like the main Xbox menu. I've never seen that before. Now we have the release timing. Again, this is super odd why there's a release timing. Maybe, you know, Xbox is a guinea pig. If something goes on with Xbox, you can fix it with PS4 and then ultimately fix it for PC. Again, I think they should just go up on everything all at once. I don't really understand why everything's being timed. That's beyond my understanding. So we got estimated file sizes. Xbox One seems to have the second largest, so 6.9 gigabytes. For some of you, you might need to leave this overnight. Hopefully it's at 12 and then you would just log in like at midnight, leave it open and then update that way. PS4 has the largest 7.16 gigabytes, and PC has the very smallest at 1.10 gigabytes. I know a lot of updates on PC work a lot differently. You get it more dynamically, so Xbox One, you kind of have to get the updates all at once. So that's one of the reasons you might see kind of big changes in file sizes, specifically like this. So that's pretty much it for what we got today with the shifting gears into the future and the patch notes. I am going to put the links down below if you want to read this for yourselves, read more into it. If you guys want to read or comment over here, leave your own comments on this video. Tell me what you think of the patch notes. Are you excited for crossplay? Are you disappointed? What would you like to have seen added to the game? I know right as of now we are not going to get any more updates. It says they did say this is the final update, so this is it for NFS Heat. There's not going to be anything in the future. I am going to be making a video in the near future as to what I'm hoping the next Need for Speed game will be. For like just a quick thought, I'm hoping they carry on what Ghost did, and we'll be going more into that. Overall, I'm happy they fixed a few of the issues, specifically with the tunnel and just crashing into walls. It wasn't the only tunnel that was behaving like that. A lot of the tunnels were causing these weird glitches, these weird kind of like these velvety just drapes in front of the tunnel. sometimes you would go right into them, sometimes you would crash into them, and with it only being the Mendoza keys fix, it's kind of a shame they didn't go more into it. Maybe the other ones weren't as widely reported, so they just kind of ignored them or just didn't see them or didn't notice them. But maybe it was just a universal glitch, and with Mendoza keys being fixed, maybe the other tunnels are going to be fixed as well. I'm going to have to do a few of the races that I've noticed these issues with, and hopefully I don't see those anymore. Maybe if we report more and more bugs, it might fix those with just small little hot fixes and updates. That way we might see it that way, but overall, but it does seem to be the final update, the last nail in the coffin, if you will, of NFS Heat. Again, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you see some fixes that you wanted to see. If you didn't, again, let me know in the comments. If you're new to Need for Speed Heat, make sure to check out all my other videos that I've done in the past. I am going to be doing a couple more videos to cover more builds in Need for Speed. There's a few that I have yet to go into. I mostly do drift videos. I also want to break down a few of the race builds that I haven't had a chance to get into that I think are really interesting. But that's everything that we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other. And as always, have a good one.